Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we are back from the brand new video. Today's video we are here on this beautiful Sunday to talk about something which in my opinion is very important, and one of the main reasons we are the champions and 55 came home, and that is none other than of course the Rangers transfer business. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to talk about it all, the ins, the outs, the shaking it all about. It's all going to be discussed in today's video because to me, it has provided something that we badly needed, and that's consistency and the quality that we bring in to this football club and moving players on that wasn't able to get to that consistent level to take us to the promised land, which of course we reached this season. Because how many times has me and the sat here over the last couple of years and said, oh, this guy just wasn't good enough when he came in the door, this was a pointless signing, this was a waste of money bringing this lad in here. We've unfortunately had that conversation numerous times over the last couple of years, and we've had that negativity weight on our shoulders at this point of the season over the last couple of years on the channel, but all that is gone now. All that weight is off our backs and off our shoulders, and a lot of it, in my opinion, goes down to the old director of football, who I think is flying underneath the radar in terms of people giving a lot of praise and a lot of credit for. And to be fair, there is so much to praise and so much to give credit for, so I'm not blaming anyone for it. But again, I do think this is an underappreciated factor in 55, so I want to narrow in on it and I want to talk about it and I want to look at it all, because before Ross Wilson came in to this job as director of football, we had Mark Allen, who did provide some very good signings, but also he did bring in some signings that turned this hair pretty damn grey. But hopefully as you watch today's video and you see what the new director of football Ross Wilson has done, hopefully you will realise what I've realised, and that is the jump in quality not only on the park but off the park is just as glaring. And before I go any further on, I have to give a wee tip to the quarantine cap to Mr. Ross Wilson, and here's why. Our transfer business in terms of outs this season has saw 19 first team players leave the football club in different varying degrees, which we will break down in a couple of seconds. But I'm saying 19 there, and I'm saying first team players because instead of narrowing on sort of the youth players who's not really been in amongst the first team, who's not made an appearance yet, we're just going to focus in on the players that's made a first team appearance for Rangers and has been in and around the first team. And in total, there's been 19 that has left the football club this frickin' season. Which that right there probably summarises the massive job that Ross Wilson did in terms of moving players on to make space to bring in the quality they eventually did, which we will break down in today's video. But focusing in on the all-outs then, shall we? Again, we mentioned 19 players in total left the football club, and 7 of them left via the end of their contract / free transfers. You have Andy Halliday, you have John Flanagan, you have Fordingham, you have Anik, you have Jason Holt, you have Jordan Rosser, and you have Jamie Murphy, who left at the end of his loan. Again, the loan's still going on right now, but again, he signed a pre-contract with Hibs and he will be leaving at the end of his contract. And emotions and all that aside, if you take a step back and you look at that list, I think we can all agree it was time to move these players on, because not one of them would get near our first team that's went on and done the success that we've done this season. Moving away from the free transfers and the players that left via the end of their contract, let's get to the players that we actually sold during this window then, shall we? Or the 2 windows, I should say, summer and in January. And in total, over the 2 windows, we actually only sold 3 players during that time. Greg Docherty to Hull, Matty Polster back to the MLS to join New England Revolution, and Ross McCrory, who originally left on loan to Aberdeen, but again the permanent signing was going to be done because Aberdeen had an obligation to buy at the end of that loan. But that loan was turned permanent in January, a part of the Scott Wright deal. So that leaves us with 3 players that left during this season for some moolah. How much moolah, I hear you ask? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, because as you may or may not have noticed, Ross Wilson doesn't allow any leaks to anyone. There's no paper getting exclusives. We have made signings that literally we all find out about when they're holding the Rangers scarf up this season, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of love the way that is, because that stability off the park kind of mirrors the stability on the park. But the transfer fees to one side, I don't think many people will argue at Matt Polster leaving the football club. I think it was time for him to move on. I don't think he was ever going to make a statement, and you can see Nathan Patterson in there. You can understand the decision to move Polster on and get the money that we actually got for the laddie. But the latter two, I should say, Docherty and Ross McCrory, will of course bring up a bit of conversation. There always will be that conversation, and hell, I've been a part of that conversation many, many times because I rate Greg Docherty very, very highly, but even I've got to admit, now that I've seen what we've done this season, and I've seen the manager and the director of football's plans to what was in place, well, what they were seeing behind the scenes, I can't sit here and argue and say that, oh, we shouldn't have sold this player because he could have went to Dunhang. You look at our midfield this season, it's been so damn consistent. Would Ross McCrory have replaced Stephen Davis in that holding midfielder role to build up the play? Absolutely not. And with Greg Docherty, I would have shifted Ryan Jack, Scotty Arfield, or on the other side, Glenn Kamara from the form they've been in. Honestly, I didn't think so. The rest of the transfer business done by Rangers Football Club in terms of outs was of course via the old loan market, where we were able to get valuable minutes and game time in the legs of Mayo, Middleton, Robbie McCrory, Stephen Kelly, Jamie Barjonas, the young lads who's been in and around the first time but just needed to go out there and play football and get minutes to develop and show what they've got. We've been able to do that, and we've used the loan market very well for that this season. And also we've used the loan market for the guys who's in and around the first team but's not getting anywhere near the first team. The likes of George Edmondson, Jake Hasty, Jordan Jones, Brandon Barker, the guys who weren't getting consistent game time have been given the opportunity to go out there and play it, whether to fight for their future or secure a move elsewhere where they can go there and play some football. Which makes total sense in my opinion, and that's using the loan market the right way. It's no loaning out duffers who's never going to be there until they run out of contract like we've done in seasons past. No, we are challenging these players now to go out there and develop and show they belong at this football club. But again, I'm not going to go too much into this one because I actually made a video. It was over 20 minutes long, I believe, in my last upload. So if you haven't seen it and you want to know who's succeeding and who's failing on fighting for the Rangers' future, I will leave a link to it down there in the description below. Now though, it's time to flip it over and speak about the players that we brought in. And this is where it really, really hits home, especially with everything we've talked about already. You talk about using the transfer windows to strengthen and improve your squad. Well, let's go and see how we did to replace all of that. In total, Rangers brought in 10 players to the football club this season, which is quite ironic when you sit back and you think about it. It took a 10 to get 55, but hey, at least one club got a 10 this season. Of the 10 players that we brought in, 4 of them were via a free transfer, where you have John McLaughlin, which you can compare and contrast right away with Fordingham. And of course, Anik, you have Jermaine Defoe, who, I mean, I don't think you can even compare and contrast with anyone. Yes, he was here on loan the previous season, but he signed here and a free agent. And didn't underestimate the impact that he's had in the football club. Yes, he might not be playing 30 games a season, but every single player talks about him behind the scenes, staying after training, helping the boys out, helping the defence out, saying, if I'm in this position, I'm going to be making a run this way and then going into this way. That's been said this season, so didn't ever underestimate the impact Jermaine Defoe's had on and off the park for our football club this season and getting us to 55. Calvin Bassey came into the side and he's looked very good for the majority of his performances. And speaking of very good for the majority of your performances, you of course have Leon Balogun, who is up there for signing of the season. I mean, he's got to be free agent, came in here. He's somehow managed to get himself in front of the Hollander Connor Goldson partnership. Hollander's never lost a game in a Rangers shirt in the league, ladies and gentlemen. But that's a credit to how good Balogun is, that he's able to come in there, and he's been a major part of the Rangers defence this season. All them right there is absolute quality. And if you look at the free transfers we brought in and you compare it with the free transfers that left, to me, it's night and day. That night and day feeling and that jump in quality just continues when you compare and contrast with the 3 players that we sold this season to the 5 players that we brought into the football club this year, because you have your boy Hagi. I mean, that's just a player in itself. You have Cedric Itten, you have Hagi Roofe, you have Jack Simpson, and you have Scotty Wright. I'll be honest, I didn't even feel like I really need to say anything for this part of today's video, but I will, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you've got Hagi, who's played 38 games in all competitions, sitting there with 19 goal contributions. And what's scary about that lad is a large part of those games, there were substitute appearances, and he doesn't play longer than 65 minutes in a game. It's scary what that boy has done. You talk about moments, and you talk about winning us games. Easter Road, the moments he's had versus Celtic and that as well to inspire us in and change us into that game. Hagi has been absolutely invaluable. Nobody can ever question the signing of that laddie. And you talk about his Hagi Roofe, when he came to this football club, there was a hell of a lot of excitement, and he's sitting here now with 10 goals in the league and 19 appearances. That is exactly what you need. And there was a month period, 5-6 week period actually, where he was at his sharpest and was just winning us games of football, looking like our best frickin' player during that run of 5-6 weeks. And for the rest of his stats, he's played 28 games and he sits here with 14 goal contributions, both goals and assists. That there, massive tick, massive success. That's exactly why we brought him into the football club, to be a very important part of this Rangers team. And speaking of important, by the way, that gives us the perfect transition into our boy Cedric Itten, because both of them played an important part in what I think was the moment we all knew we were winning the league versus Motherwell. And that of course leads us to big Cedric Itten, because he got his head on that ball, and that goal right there was worth whatever moolah was spent on the big Larry. And to be fair to him, he's not really had obviously consistent games starting week in and week out. He's not got a brilliant goal to game ratio, but he's come in and played a very important job as well, being the selfless target man, coming in late in the games, last 15 minutes to see it out, chase lost causes, be a nuisance, win the ball, kill the clock. And he's done that job without moaning and complaining once. And again, you can't ever overlook moments in players like that, because they are vastly, vastly important in holding these 1-0 leads, 1-0 leads. You talk about the 7 1-0 leads we have won this season. Cedric Itten has been on that park in every single one of them to see that freaking game out. And despite him being mostly used as that objective player this season, he still managed 8 goal contributions in 38 games, considering he's only played 23% of the minutes available this season. I'd say that's another massive success. Now, the last two was the last two players that we signed to the football club this season, and both of them were signed on transfer deadline day, but nobody can honestly sit here and say I'm fully crap now when I talked up Scotty Wright when he played for Aberdeen. I think we can all agree there's a special, special player in there. When he gets fully fit and when he gets up to the way we play, look out, him on one side with Ryan Kent on the other. That could be very, very naughty. He's already won a penalty kick for us as well, and he's already shown to be a good player. And Jack Simpson has showed that he is a mobile centre-half that can put himself about, and he's been okay in the games that he's come in. Yes, he was unlucky with one of his challenges bouncing off him and it resulting in a goal, but you can't look at that and say, oh, that's been a terrible signing as well, especially considering it's a player that we've looked at for a very, very long time. And if you're sitting here and you're comparing and you're looking at Ross Wilson's batting average for home runs, it's sitting at 100% right now. So I'm not going to sit here and look at Jack Simpson and say, right, Ross Wilson, you've had a 100% success rate so far. That one there, though, makes me a wee bit nervous. No, it's the exact opposite. Because of Ross Wilson's ratio in terms of bringing quality into this football club, for me, I'm sitting saying Jack Simpson will be a project, absolutely, but it'll be a project that will have a very, very happy ending. But that's the players that we brought in for some moolah. Regarding the loan aspect of today's video, if you want to compare it with what we've done in terms of the players that went out, of course we brought in Big Zungu as well, who maybe didn't hit the heights that a lot of us were expecting. I was expecting him to be more involved, but again, you look at the midfield, who are you dropping? Are you dropping Stephen Davis? Are you dropping Glenn Kamara? Are you dropping Joe Aribo? Are you dropping Ryan Jack, who's only conceded 1 goal regarding the team when he's been in amongst it, when he's been fit? And if you're dropping Scotty Arfield, who a lot of people are forgetting, there was a 6-week period of him as well, where he was up there for player of the season. Go back to the other season, he was absolutely on fire. It's been almost an impossible task for Zungu to get in there, but you look at every time he's come in, it's been towards the end of the game, just like Cedric Itten, almost a closer to run about, get involved, be very clever with the football, didn't give the ball away, make sure when he gets the ball it's a pass, no right to the opposition, and he's done that job again without moaning. And guys like Itten and Zungu, who's able to come in there and see these games out, these 1-0 games, these 2-1 games, whatever, again, are absolutely invaluable and has played their part massively in my freaking opinion. I guess it just depends how you look at it, but for me, I'm seeing that loan as a success as well, because players like that have been invaluable to our run this season, and there's a reason that Gerrard continues to select them and puts them on when the pressure is at its absolute the biggest. He's definitely playing his part, and that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we've brought in to the football club. Now, we did sign Nnamdi Ofabor on a pre-contract, but that isn't a signing until next season, so that doesn't count for this year. It's just kind of like the Jermaine Defoe. We signed him, and he's officially a player this season. So Nnamdi Ofabor will be spoken about next season, and we'll be speaking a lot about that laddie, I'm very, very sure. Hopefully, the way I've done today's video and the way I've spoken about it has highlighted and shown another major reason why we've been so successful this season. Off the park has been just as good as on the park, and that's saying something, ladies and gentlemen. So to the job off the park, again, I tip the quarantine cap. Ross Wilson, what a job, and I can't wait to see what he does next season, because we all know there will be players leaving at the end of the season. That's just football, that's what happens. But again, Ross Wilson's batting average has me sitting here very confident that quality may leave, but quality will be coming right back in to the football club, and that there is a very, very happy prospect and a very exciting prospect to be a Rangers fan. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Again, I just wanted to talk about Rangers thing. It's the international break, and I just wanted to talk about something I think's gone underneath the radar, and that has been the recruitment and the transfer business outs and ins. If you've enjoyed today's video, and if you're still watching, I would love to see your opinions down there in the comment section below. And if you didn't mind hitting the like button, that helps other people find the video. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. And hell, if you are new around here and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, if you didn't mind hitting that, that'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. We're trying to reach 55k, so any help would be greatly, greatly appreciated. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I've been sieging over 992 until our next video, which will hopefully not be as long as the last one. I'll see you. Take care of yourselves. All the best, and bye-bye.